Hi friends, it's Peggy Noe from PrettyPaperCards.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I just have a little tip for you about how to make what I'm calling a watercolor butterfly background. And that's the background that you see here on this card. I'm going to hold it up to the camera a little bit closer so you can see it. It's where there's a little center and it looks like there might be butterfly wings popping out from there. And that's true, that's what it is. So let's see how to make that. Now to begin, the supplies we're going to use are, we're going to start with the Brilliant Wings dies from Stampin' Up! And I've already pulled the ones, this is the one that I used, this size. There are lots of sizes of butterflies. There's even, I even have another magnet sheet of them. Lots of different butterflies. This is the one I did use, but you can use any of them, even a smaller one if you like. But this is the one I'm going to use here. You can just test them out and see what you think. We're also going to use a silicone craft sheet to protect our desktop from the water. We're going to use fluid watercolor paper, Fluid 100 watercolor paper from Stampin' Up! And we're going to use polished pink ink. And the one other thing is the water painter filled with water. This comes in a package of 3 and I'm using the medium, the one with the medium tip. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to put our silicone craft sheet down and I have a piece of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. I've cut this to 3 3/4 by 5 because that's the final size that I want. I've also cut out one of the butterflies using the die. This is going to be our mask, as you will. This time I've cut it out from the fluid watercolor paper. I had to go back and forth quite a few times on the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine because this is very thick paper. The first time for the effect that you saw in the sample, I just used our standard basic white cardstock. But I'm going to try this time. And I'm going to go ahead and open up my ink pad. First of all, what I do is I press really hard at the back like this. And you can see that it's pressing down. And then when you open your pad, you have a blob of ink. And this is what I'm going to use as my area that I mix the paint and the water together. So actually, to start off, I'm just going to get a little water to come out of my watercolor painter. And I'm just going to very lightly go over my sheet on the front and the back. This kind of helps it not to curl up as much, just to wet the whole thing very lightly. Okay, now I'm going to come back onto the front, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to mix water like a palette. That was the word I had been looking for. So I'm mixing water with the ink that I had gotten on there, and I'm going to lay my butterfly down. Let me pull it back a little bit. You'll be able to see when I get some paint on it, or some ink. And then I'm just going to just do like this, just dab it. And I mean, this is really a simple technique. I'm also going to get, in between and all around. And then we lift it up, and there you have that effect, that bursting out effect. So then I'm going to move my butterfly mask, and I'm going to do the same thing all over again. And I just keep doing that, trying to get some water and some color throughout, just continuing all the way down. And I'm pressing at the same time, I'm pressing my water painter to get water to come out. And I do want to color the entire paper, so you can see that I'm kind of adding adding some water and some color to the areas like there where we don't have any mask. And you just keep doing this over and over, getting the brush down in those little crevices. And if we need more ink, sometimes I just grab it from the pad just like that, and then we'll just go right over that area. And when you're doing it right in here, when you're putting your water painter right in that area, that is what this circle, that's what's making the splattery look. See that? But you know, watercoloring is it's not supposed to be perfect, so if you're a perfectionist, this might not be the technique for you. But I think it's really fun because almost anything you do comes out great. And there you can see the splattery look, and so I'm going to get a little more down in this area here, pick up a little more ink from the pad, a little bit more, like that, and then I'm going to go down and do this. Now, if you use just basic white cardstock to cut out your butterfly mask, what will happen is it will start disintegrating in pilling in little balls. And I just didn't let that bother me, and when everything dried, the little balls just brushed right off. So that's basically it. Then what I ended up doing is I just let it dry. Let me get a little more ink and see if I can get a little bit more color in here. Just like that. And I just let it dry. You can hit it with a heat gun if you want to, but I didn't. And I just leave that kind of palette situation in the top of my ink pad, because that way I'm ready to do it anytime. I clean my water painter by pressing down and getting water to come out there, and using a tissue, and I just get my water painter all clean and ready for the next time. This little butterfly, you could definitely, if you cut it out of the watercolor paper like I did, you can see it began to pill just a little bit there. You can set it aside and this little butterfly can dry. I'll show it to you there, and you could use that even on your project. And so when it dries, you get, let me get my card back, and this is the look that I got from doing that. And I just put some decorations on top. And I thought it was really fun. It's a quick and easy watercolor technique that if you're new to watercoloring, it just gives you a little way to get a neat little pattern on there. So thank you so much for stopping by today. And if you haven't, please subscribe to my Pretty Paper Cards YouTube channel. And I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.